Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Kai Veo channel. We're back once more, and this time, this is a more focus on Chinese men and what they're refusing to deal with. I call it the wake-up call. Anyway, let's go.
我都不打算找对象。
不打算找对象啊。
I really don't plan to find a partner anymore. It's too hard to support one. It's already good enough that I can support myself now. I think finding a girlfriend is really hard to support, like buying a car or a house. Spending so much money would quickly drag me down. Plus, I'm from a single-parent family, and I only have a dad at home. Now that I'm out working, I'm not earning much. If I were to find a partner and eventually get married, I really couldn't afford the bride price. The bride price here in Yunnan is around 200,000 to 300,000 yuan. It may seem like only 200,000 to 300,000 yuan, but for us workers it's still very high, and it's hard to earn that much money. Isn't being single better?
It sounds like they'll have the same problems that most Americans are having, paycheck to paycheck. But see, the only difference is here in the States, everybody's trying to get back on the 50 and 50 bandwagon, which is not really possible in this modern generation because there's a large percentage of sugar babies and they're looking for men that have it all. And it's only 1% of men that have it all. And it's the same thing with larger countries such as China. Those women demand way much more than your typical average American woman. Now, see, these guys over here in China are saying the juice ain't worth the squeeze. What's the point?
I'm very happy on my own, doing whatever I want. Just taking good care of my parents is enough.
我都不打算找对象了，单身不好吗？
I've decided not to look for a partner anymore. Isn't being single good? A lot of people ask me, your salary is already so high. Why are you still worried about finding a partner?
Now, see, even though everything's inflated through the roof, more and more younger people are making more money than when their parents were their age. Because see, even though most people back in the 70s and 80s weren't making that much money, they were typical 9-to-5 people. So a lot of people didn't have all these side hustles, e-commerce and all that. Because see, all that's secondary, right? Instacart, Uber, Lyft, blah, blah, whatever. Even YouTube channels. This is all secondary income for the most part. So people need to realize that. And being that everything is so expensive, why waste all this extra money getting married and starting a family when they could use the money to support their ancestors? Well, not their ancestors, but their current relatives.
But I still don't plan to look for a partner. In short, I still can't afford to support one. Some friends have asked me, do you really need to support your partner? But what I'm thinking is, after getting married, I still have to buy a car and a house. Just the cost of a house alone could exhaust me for the rest of my life. Once the housing issue is solved, if I do get married, I'll still need to prepare a bride price. Here in Jiangxi, the bride price is about 400,000 to 500,000 yuan, right? But even if I work hard for a year, I can only save 20,000 to 30,000 yuan at most.
And see, that's another thing. Saving money is a big issue for a lot of people in this generation. Because how are we saving money if we have to pay for rent? We have to pay $1,000 a month for a Honda Civic, let alone an Altima, and food, gas, and people are still having a hard time saving money. You have 401k, but then you still want to save your own money at the same time, which is really not logical.
Besides the bride price, there's also the wedding banquet, rings, buying a car, renovating the new house, and buying a lot of new appliances and furniture. I don't even dare to think about these costs, so I feel that being single suits me best.
今年30岁反而不想谈恋爱了。
I'm 30 years old this year, but I'm not that interested in dating anymore. Born in 1994, I'm still
1988.
unmarried and without children. Now living and working alone in Hefei. Is it really embarrassing for a man to be 30 and still unmarried? I know that many parents are desperately pushing for marriage. To them, whether you're happy or not doesn't matter. Who you marry.
Check this out. if you're in your 30s and you're single and you're living like that, this dude got a nice apartment and he knows how to cook. I don't see why that'll be a problem. But if he does decide to get married, at least he'll probably be cooking for his wife.
Marry
probably.
isn't crucial either. What matters is that you get married so they can consider their mission accomplished. Because everyone else is married except you, when others casually say it's for your own good. If you don't listen to their advice, it's your fault. And if you don't accept it, it's also your fault. The
Bullshit.
temperature in Hefei has been quite high recently. Summer must have truly arrived. Whenever it gets hot...
He's a barista too? Damn. That machine looks serious. I need to get me one of those. I need to get the Nescafe version. Because see, Keurig, it's alright. But Nescafe is even better. The pods are like round. They're funny shaped.
hot, I don't feel like cooking. So I make some dumplings and keep them in the freezer. When I'm hungry or don't feel like cooking, I can just eat them. Now that I'm 30, I have a clearer understanding of myself. Marriage doesn't have to be the focus of life.
No, it don't.
There's nothing wrong with being single. If you ask me whether I feel anxious seeing others get married, well, not really. After all, I control my own life, and no one can make decisions for me. At the age of 30, I may focus more on myself, and whether to get married is no longer that important. Following my own heart is what's most important, right? Moreover, I think if a man doesn't have the ability or money to get married, it's better not to. Nowadays, women are very realistic. If you don't have...
Now, I'm going to say this. In America, most people will decide to have kids anyway, even if they're a paycheck away from being homeless. They could barely afford to put gas in their car, yet they still trying to be out here and have kids. I'm like, but you was just complaining last week that you didn't have money for gas. And you still trying to have another 2 or 3 kids.
Have money but still insist on getting married, you'll end up either harming the woman or your parents. Parents spend all their life savings to get us a wife, but many couples still don't have a good life, eventually leading to divorce, resulting in both financial and emotional losses.
现在有很多小伙子已经放弃结婚了，不想再结婚了。
I have been working in marriage mediation for 10 years, and I have noticed that many young people now have abandoned the idea of getting married. This batch of young men who are unwilling to marry mostly come from rural areas. Although their conditions are very modest, they simply hope to find a suitable partner and do not pursue whether the woman is beautiful. However, they still find it difficult to find a wife. The reason is that even in rural areas today, the demands of rural women are indeed too high, requiring a house, a car, and a large amount of betrothal gifts. In some rural families, it may take a lifetime to save enough betrothal gifts to marry a wife. However, most families will never be able to save enough for the betrothal gifts, which means they cannot get married. Even families who can afford to marry a wife are reluctant to try due to the high divorce rate. They worry that the money their parents have worked hard for their whole lives will be wasted. Once the marriage breaks down, not only will the money be spent without any gain, but they may also become a divorced man, making it even harder to find a partner. Therefore, they choose to give up and no longer consider marriage. Do you have such young men around you?
How carefree is life when you stop being a simp,
Oh,
stop dating, and avoid marriage? Today is the first day I officially exited the simp zone, and my life is already improving.
Yeah, by drinking.
I slept until noon, went downstairs to find a place to enjoy a good meal, ordered a couple of hearty dishes, and had a bottle of beer, all for just 45 yuan. If I had spent that 45 yuan sending red envelopes as a simp, those little fairies might scold me and even call me stingy. But with that money, which those beauties look down on, I can enjoy a nice meal at a restaurant.
See, you're in control of how much money you spend at a restaurant when you dine out alone. Mind you, if he would have had a female with him, she would have ordered all the expensive shit and not help out on the tab. And when a lot of women do that in female groups too, when they go out and it's a large group of females, a lot of times one person will still end up being stuck with the bill. So that's why it's best not to go out with a large group of people at a restaurant, because a lot of times everybody gonna look down at each other and just figure out who's gonna pay for it. And you're like, what? Everybody's looking at me?
Isn't that worth it? Today, I officially decided that from now on, every penny I earn will be spent only on myself. I'm already 35 years old.
35. 1988, baby, 36. So that's...
No matter how hard I work at the company, it seems I'm destined never to marry. Since that's the case, I might as well let it go. Enjoy life, eat well, drink heartily every day, and be a carefree single man.
YOLO.
I used to really want to get married, so I would starve in the morning and eat instant noodles at night to save more money. As a result, I lived like a beggar. Now that I've given up on marriage, every meal includes meat and alcohol.
Well, the nightclub is played out. People got tired of simping on those women getting tables and popping bottles and paying $200-300 for a night out at the club when they could have just found somewhere and paid for what they wanted up front. And you know what I'm talking about. So good for him. He gets it. And see, a lot of men in America are getting it too. They're saying, fuck it. They'll just get it whenever they want to and then just enjoy life, travel, had a MacBook, a good Nikon camera, and just enjoy all the simple shit in life and just be carefree living. And see, by having this attitude, it's going to keep you looking much younger too as well. So it's important to be surrounded by a lot of like-minded people and keep your family closest to you as possible too.
Since marriage caused me so much pain and being single brings me so much joy, why should I force myself to marry?
我快30岁了，不谈恋爱，不结婚。
As I approach 30, I have chosen not to date or marry, and over the past 6 years, I have saved a total of 320,000 renminbi.
Good job.
Why are more and more men unwilling to date? It's because many of us from ordinary families have poor economic conditions, lacking both a house and a car. When we feel that we have no money, we are also reluctant to waste a girl's youth. I had 2 brief relationships during college, but both ended due to financial issues.
What?
Because I'm poor, I have to do part-time jobs to earn more money, and I put all my energy into earning and saving money, naturally leaving no time to accompany my girlfriend for other activities like shopping and chatting. I know that only having money can solve these fundamental problems, and I also lack confidence in providing a good future for my girlfriend. I don't want her to suffer with me. Realizing this, after breaking up, I never dated again. Today, I bought seafood with my family, and we all work together. My cooking skills are average, so I could only help with simple tasks. Over the past decade, I supported myself through part-time jobs during college, repaid family debts after graduation.
I'm seeing all this raw meat and cooking. Have you noticed that a lot of these guys are learning how to cook on their own because they're single and they're pretty much doing things that most men used to rely on women to do? So it makes you more independent as well. You'll become a better cook, and overall you'll just be more self-dependent. Now, at some point you're going to need somebody for something, of course, but...
And then began saving money. Not dating or marrying allows me to focus on work, and apart from providing living expenses for my family, I have no other extra expenses. By saving steadily every month, I have accumulated 320,000 renminbi over 6 years. The lunch I spent over an hour preparing is finally done.
An hour?
Actually, living with my family and not considering marriage is quite good. Being single has become addictive. Not only do I have more time, but I can also save a lot of money. After dinner, I plan to do part-time work to make more money. Currently, I have no plans to marry, and I know many friends who have the same plan as I do, only considering marriage and dating when we become wealthy.
最近大家都说90后、00后现在不结婚。
Recently, everyone has been saying that people born in the 90s and aughts are choosing not to marry, not to have children, and not to date, which is leading to negative population growth in China. What is the reason for this? Take me as an example. I was born in 2000.
Youngster.
After the new year, I will be 24 years old, and this year is my zodiac year. I only earn 5,000 renminbi a month, and my job is still unstable. Sometimes I don't have enough money for myself, so how can I date or take a girl on a trip? I don't even have money to take her out for a nice meal. If I were to get married and have a child in the future, then our family of 3 would suffer together. Just thinking about it makes me afraid to get married.
你们知道现在的男生他到底有多清醒通透吗？
Do you know how aware young men are nowadays? My neighbor's son is in his early 30s and still single. During the new year, he came home driving a Mercedes E300. When chatting with him, I asked why he didn't bring a girlfriend home. He said that although he's not young anymore and has had several girlfriends, they all demanded a dowry of 300,000 to 500,000 renminbi, which is enough to buy a Mercedes. He said, when I drive a Mercedes E300 home, my parents will think I am successful, and relatives and friends will praise me for my achievements. If I spend 100,000 renminbi on gold rings, gold necklaces, and gold earrings for marriage, that's equivalent to a year's worth of expenses for my business. To be honest, this amount of money could have been my startup capital when I was starting my business. What does this indicate? It's like a chance to change one's fate. I bought an iPhone for my girlfriend, and that money could have been used by my mom to buy a TV, a refrigerator, a microwave, and an air conditioner. If I spent 2 million renminbi on a wedding house, it would deplete my parents' savings accumulated over decades.
I've noticed that a lot of these people in the Chinese culture, a lot of them get help from their parents' savings, which in America is not really a thing. It is, but then it's not because it's not common. Because see, a lot of people grew up in single parent households, so there wasn't really a lot of money saved up for them to do anything in the first place, like college, even possibly a car. Like a lot of people just relied on the sorry ass transportation system that we had, right? So to hear this is new to me.
If I don't get married, no one will take away my parents' lifetime savings. He also said that if he could truly find a gentle, considerate, and understanding girl, he would be willing to spend. But now he has seen through it and realizes that only by giving gifts, spending money, and making contributions can he get a fake I love you from her. Given this, he has decided to invest money in himself, improve himself, and get better results. He understands that only by becoming successful himself can he attract women who like, admire, and worship him. He no longer spends money on women but invests all his resources in himself.
Wow.
Only by becoming more valuable can he attract more women. Do you think what he said makes sense?
I want to tell everyone that now Chinese men are no longer as naive as they used to be. Instead, they have become particularly clear-headed. To what extent have they become clear-headed?
It sounds like some of them got a taste of Kevin Samuels. I think a lot of people over there discovered Kevin Samuels, even though there's no YouTube in China. So
nowadays, when eating out, they dare to suggest splitting the bill with women. Before getting married, they might ask women to check their premarital health records. Even after marriage, they will inquire about the woman's savings. In the past, men pursued women. The situation now is that if a man doesn't pursue you, a woman might even need to take the initiative to pursue him. In the past, dating could take a year or more, and men might not even dare to hold a girl's hand. Now men might date a woman 3 times. And if she hasn't confirmed the relationship, he might move on to the next woman. That's not all. Regarding marriage, in the past, men were expected to prepare the house and car themselves, and women didn't need to prepare anything. But now the situation is completely different. Men will require the woman to bring a dowry. If the dowry is insufficient, it's a problem. If the woman doesn't provide a dowry,
it's the dumbass question that's popular over here. What do you bring to the table? And what is your body count? 2 of the dumbest questions that I refuse to ask a woman. Your body count and what do you bring to the table? What you bring to the table is obvious. A lot of times, probably nothing. If anything, somebody else's children, right? But yeah, don't ask her body count. She's only going to tell you the guys that she was in a relationship with. That's the only guy she's going to count as body count. All the partying and hooking up body count's not going to be in there. It's not going to be in the equation.
The man is unlikely to give her any wedding gifts or make promises like adding her name to the property deed. These promises are now rarely agreed to by men. Even single men, who spend their earnings on entertainment, travel, and enjoyment find this more satisfying. Therefore, times have changed, and men are no longer as naive as before. So, to those women who want to make a lot of money through marriage, I want to say one thing. You really need to understand yourself before looking for a partner.
See, the thing is, in America, women make a lot of money off of marriage by getting divorced. So the thing is, see, here in America, or at least a while back, women were still marrying guys that just had a one-bedroom apartment. A lot of these married couples don't even own homes to begin with. I'm talking about now. You'd be surprised how many couples are still renting homes or condos or apartments. So if they got divorced, if the couple ever decided to just split ways, she's not going to get much anyway because he was broke at the start and didn't own nothing. So, you know, double-edged hammer. But anyways, Kai DeVale, hope you learned something today. ID 5000.